It is spooky season, which means spooky beats are back on the menu. I'm talking about eerie sounds, creepy chords, haunted 808s, and of course how you can make these beats all from scratch. But before that, we gotta get you right with the fundamentals. So spooky beats are kind of all about the atmosphere. You're aiming for that dark, eerie feeling, so try to think of something that could play in the background of like a horror movie. Number 2, your scales and your notes. The dark sound comes from the minor scale. You can use something called dissonant notes, which is like taking a note and moving it up a half step to create that tension and unpredictable feeling. Number 3, the melodies. These melodies are usually like simple but haunting. So use stuff like bells, vintage pianos, reverse music boxes, anything that sounds mysterious to create a repetitive dark melody. Number 4, this is the sauce, and that's through using textures. Experiment with using layers and textures to make it feel like it's coming out of a scene. Stuff like distant screams, vinyls, fucking wolves howling. Kind of like I said in the beginning, it's all about the atmosphere that you create with this. And number 5, the drums. The drums will usually contrast that spooky melody. So think hard 808s, spazzy hi-hats, loud snares. Usually the darker the melody, the harder the drums hit. We can thank Southside for that. But now that we got the basics down, let's actually get into the cook-up. So whenever I start making dark beats, the first thing I love to do is find the right sound. So I'm in contact 8 on this Daft Lines VST. And before I actually get into pattern, I still want to make this sound like it's on crack. So I'm going to route it to a channel and pretty much create my own mixer track preset. What am I trying to do? My process with this is now, instead of just a singular normal sound that we get from a VST, we have something a lot more unique to start building off with. Instead of trying to click something in, I'm going to take y'all with me to the MIDI keyboard here. I really just want to play a singular chord that I can either strum or actually just use to make a chord progression. I was just going to get a chord down, but I ended up playing a cool little pattern that actually works. We'll just roll with this. Probably can't hear this too well if you're not using headphones, but these are the root notes over here, and that's adding a lot more bounce and also just helping to establish that dark feeling. Once I have something that is dark and I feel like it's pretty full on its own, what I'll do is just instantly quick render it and see what it sounds like pitched and chopped and maybe even reversed. We can do the Southside method, which is like pitching it up a full octave and then shortening it. That sounds like balls, so we won't do that. I love trying the Fruity Slicer method, so we'll pitch shift this up, put the attack up a little bit, put the cut on beat, and then reverse it. Now, as producers, we're all pretty familiar with this point where you make something and you kind of like it, but you don't feel like you like it enough to actually start building more off of it. Usually in positions like this, what I love doing is just experimenting with effect VSTs until you get it to something that truly inspires you and makes you want to build off of what you already have. So we're just going to experiment. Contact be having ARPs? So now I have something unique that I'm liking a lot more. And I'm just going to do some light EQing to make sure that it sounds clean, because now I'm going to render it. One thing I'll always do is just route it back to the same channel that I had all the effects on and then just play it and see what it sounds like. Let's go to Fruity Slicer, pitch it up, let's try 300, the attack up a little bit so there's none of that like annoying ass click in the beginning, the slice on beat, and then reverse it. Something I like. Let's route that to a channel, try it some halftime. so now we finally have something that I am really liking. And now this is hard, but it's a little bit too fast, and it's also very repetitive. It's the same thing repeating every 2 bars. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm just gonna lower the tempo. And then we're gonna render out the pattern. As you can see, we do not have a 4 or 8 bar pattern. We have a 6 bar pattern. So I believe that this means that this is in 3/4 timing. This might be a little bit scary. It's just starting to sound like knights marching into war in the night. Okay, pretty much now that I have a melody that I like and I want to build off of, I'm going to start adding sounds and counter melodies that complement what we already have. And what I really think is some orchestral sounds will sound good. Orchestral sounds and dark beats always go together really well. Hold up, the strings are adding something else to it. I can't explain it. It's still dark, but it's like sorrowful. Alright, so now we're starting to solidify the melody, but one thing that I love doing before I just keep on adding more and more melodies is I love adding just a few select drums to establish the bounce. And the reason that I do this to make sure that you don't overcomplicate the melodies. You want to make sure that number 1, that you have enough room for the drums to actually go in, and number 2, that you have enough space for an artist's voice to be on top of everything. Let's layer that, octave down. Another one? Another one? All I'm doing right now, guys, is just adding on melodies that I think match with this. I want to have another top layer to just even enunciate it and make it even more aggressive. So I love adding these like dark evil laughs. I don't know what to call them, but just laughters. Fuck, I got 2 minutes. And then lastly, I'm just gonna get this lead here, but I actually have to dip, so we will continue the lead and the full beat when I'm back home. Quick little costume change. Mr. Krabs, I have an idea. Bro, I need to put the beanie above my ear. What the f— we taking dickhead to a whole new meaning, bro. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
So I got these last 2 sounds in Contact off camera. And I also found this bell from Contact. So when you have a really repetitive melody, if you just add more stuff like ear candy and other counter melodies, that stops it from being too repetitive and also adds some variation through it that you can add within the beat. One producer who does this a lot is Metro. He adds a lot of breakdowns and outros in his beats, and inside of those he creates his own section for different melodies. Some delay to the bell. And now we have the final melody. Now we can move on into the drums. And the one thing that I'm going to be paying attention to throughout all of this is sound selection. And because the melody has like this dark, triumphant feeling, I want to center the drums around that feeling too. The snares and the kicks by themselves is where most of your bounce is coming from. And then once you add the hi-hats, that's what solidifies the bounce. So most of the time when you add your rolls based around the gaps in between the kicks and the snares, it's gonna sound pretty good. Then I'm going to go to my Illuminate multi-kit, go to the MIDIs, and go to the snare MIDIs. And there's a bunch of different snare rolls in here that we can just drag and drop. Now that we kind of have the bounce down, we're going to add just more of the ear candy stuff. Now we'll just come in with the 808. We'll actually copy and paste the kick and just arrange the 808 to the root notes. So now into the mixing, all I'm really going to do is route all of these to a channel. We'll just solo out the main melody and then just keep on adding other melodies and level them out. Once you level everything out, this is pretty optional, but I always like doing this, is I'll just go through all the sounds again and then just mess with the panning and then this knob right here. And this is the stereo or mono. And once you do that, then you can start to lay out your beat. So what I love doing is just taking all the sounds that I'm using and then moving them to the side here, copy and paste them, move it to the beginning. So we'll have our intro and then we'll just come in over here. And with the other melodies for the bridge here, add that laughter right at the end here, and that's gonna wrap it up for the spooky, dark, haunted beats. Personally, my favorite type of beats to make. And as you can see, a lot of the sounds that I used here are from my own kits. Even the snare midis that I experimented with were from all one kit, and that was my Illuminate multi-kit. This kit has over 500 dark trap sounds and has everything you need to make beats like this: an analog lab bank, drum kit, midis, one-shots, perk loops, phrases, accents, textures, and loops. I always hated scrolling through so many different sounds trying to find the right thing for my beats, but with this kit, it makes it so easy to find sounds because you have everything just all in one. So to go grab that, the link will be in the description below. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. You can also tap in with me on Instagram and TikTok, but that wraps it up for me. I'll catch you on the next one.